going on?
Thank you so much.
Feel like $1 million.
Shout out TMZ, you up?
Let me check out that rig.
TMZ stands for the Mayweather Zone.
How'd you find me, bro? I got my disguise on.
I love my TMZ family.
Welcome to TMZ Sports. I'm Mike Babcock with my guy, as always, Mojo Muhtadi. Mojo, punches, that's exactly where we're going to start, with an absolutely massive brawl that broke out Sunday night in the NBA. Second quarter, Mojo. Detroit Pistons playing the Minnesota Timberwolves. I don't know what it is about the Pistons, but boy, do they ever get in some crazy fights on the hardwood, and last night was no exception. Watch this, about 8 minutes left in the first half. Things got super crazy. Watch this.
Boy, you not like... Boy, you look, boy.
So there it was, Mojo. Look, it wasn't in Detroit and it wasn't the Malice at the Palace, but this was pretty serious as far as NBA fights go. All told, 7 people ejected, 5 players, 2 coaches. There is the list. Isaiah Stewart very much in the middle of this thing. I mean, all of these guys were, and that's why they were ultimately thrown out. One of the most serious fights that we've seen on an NBA floor, Mojo, in years, without a question.
The head coach got the boot, too.
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy right there. Usually it's the coaches that are running in to pull people away from the fight and break this thing up, but that just shows you how heated this one got. I mean, not quite sure why it came this far along, but it certainly just blew up. I mean, Thankfully, I think the best part of this is that no fans were involved. Nobody was really hurt there. There was no, collateral damage or anything to that extent. But when you're talking about these players, my goodness, that's a lot of ejections. That has an impact on a team going forward. Not the best look. I mean, from a PR standpoint, there's going to be a lot raining down from the top of the franchise, some implications for certain bubble players, bubble coaches potentially moving forward. I mean, that can give somebody a reason to no longer stay with a franchise in the future. So, pretty crazy that this many people got involved. I mean, usually these things get contained and broken down pretty quick.
No, you're exactly right. Mojo, there was some chippiness in the game. There was a technical foul just a couple of moments before the actual brawl broke out. So it's clear that these teams were not exactly getting along on the court during the first half of the game. And it did seem like something like this could happen. And boy, did it ever happen. Now, you mentioned J.B. Bickerstaff, of course, the coach, who was also part of the 7 people who were ejected. After the game, J.B. met with the media, and here's what he had to say about the fight.
What did officials tell you on the ejections?
I guess obviously things went too far. I think, the initial part of it, you go back and watch the film and see where it started. And then obviously things escalated from there. But what you see is guys looking out for one another, guys trying to protect one another, guys trying to have each other's back. And that's that. That instance is one of those things where, when you play the way that we play, you earn a reputation, you're going to be tested. And guys think, that's what they have to do. But you regret obviously where all of it took place. That's not something you ever want to see happen. But again, I thought our guys stood their ground and defended each other and had each other's back. And those are non-negotiables in our locker room, is that you stand your ground and you defend one another and have each other's backs. And I thought our guys did that tonight.
Mojo, the Pistons were obviously without Bickerstaff for, more or less half of the basketball game. The Pistons were up big. They were up by 16 points in that first half. The Timberwolves, however, ended up winning the game 123-104. But the big takeaway here has nothing to do with the final score, has everything to do with the fight. Stay tuned. There are going to be suspensions. Stay tuned. We'll see what the NBA does. All right, Mojo, moving on to a terrifying moment involving Richard Sherman. Richard Sherman's house was broken into over the weekend by armed assailants, Mojo, and his wife and his children were home at the time. Again, just a terrifying situation. It's invasive anytime anyone is in your home, even if you're not there, Mojo. But to think that his wife, Ashley Moss, and his two kids, Raiden and Avery, were in the home while this happened is just, it's so scary, and you shudder to think about what could have actually happened here, Mojo. So the reason we know about this is because Richard's wife, Ashley, went to social media and posted a couple of screen grabs from their surveillance video. Now you can read right there what Ashley had to say. She's obviously not very happy. She uses an expletive to describe these three men who were inside the home. She says they were armed, and you see right there at the very bottom, Mojo, she says they messed with the wrong people. And you can bet now, because we've talked to police in the area, this was a home in Washington State that, of course, where Richard, for so many years, starred for the Seattle Seahawks. The police are investigating this, Mojo. They wouldn't tell us too much more about the investigation as far as whether or not they've got any leads, because it is an open and an active investigation, and they do want to find these guys. Bottom line, nobody was hurt, but just a scary situation when you think of guys in your home with weapons on a Saturday night, late at night. Ugh, bad stuff, Mojo.
Well, I got to say, Babcock, with all the recent break-ins, police got a pretty good track record of ultimately running these people down. So hopefully they do the same here. I mean, these guys are just waving guns around in their hands. They weren't concealed. They were out and about for the world to see. Horrifying stuff. I mean, this shouldn't happen to anyone. I mean, no reason to believe that these are in any way connected to any of the other previous break-ins. Of course, it just seems like all athletes need to be on red alert right now. I mean, break-ins do happen, but to this many high-profile players in such a short time period, I mean, gosh, I don't remember a time where it was this bad before. So, I mean, really, everyone needs to realize that these are not isolated incidences. I mean, people are doing this because they feel like they're going to get away with it, and it could easily happen to you. So beef up the home security. Make sure you're locking your doors, especially when you have young kids at home, because, I mean, what happens if someone's accidentally home and one of these people break in? Maybe it's even the burglar that gets scared and accidentally fires off that gun. Then where were we at? So, I mean, this is horrible. I hope the cops can find who did this and absolutely hit them with everything they need to scare others from doing this, because obviously this just keeps on happening. But yeah, I don't know. Hopefully the Sherman family's doing okay. It's going to be hard for them to find peace in their homes after this.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there, Mojo. What an invasive thing to have to deal with. Now, Richard Sherman went to social media as well and has commented on this. House being robbed at gunpoint with my family in it isn't what anyone wants for a birthday gift. Scary situation that my wife handled masterfully and kept my kids safe. If anyone has any info that can help find these people, please reach out. And he's not kidding, Mojo. Richard's birthday was this weekend. The burglary was Saturday night. Not anyone's idea of a good birthday gift. The Yankees offense explodes with these torpedo bats that everyone's talking about. Is this a big deal, or is it no deal at all? Yankees rookie catcher J.C. Escarra weighs in when TMZ Sports returns right after this. Welcome back to TMZ Sports, Mike and Mojo. Mojo, the New York Yankees are living up to their Bronx Bombers nickname throughout this short Major League Baseball season. Mojo, they're leading all of baseball with 15 home runs. Now, get this. The Yankees on Saturday hit 9 home runs in a single game, Mojo. they followed that up on Sunday by hitting 4 more home runs. So the Yankees are absolutely raking. But it's not without controversy because some of the Yankees are using a new bat, a newly designed bat that has been called the torpedo bat, Mojo. Now, if you look at the bat and Jazz there, Yankee infielder, there it is. Now, Mojo, look at this. Normally a bat would get, from thinner, where you obviously hold the bat on the handle, to the widest point at the end of the bat. Well, the bat has been sort of reworked, and a lot of the mass of the bat has been moved over to the sweet spot, which, if anyone plays baseball, obviously, you don't want to hit it off the tip of the bat. You don't want to hit it near your hands. You want to hit it right there in that sweet spot, a couple of inches from the top, and that's where you're going to generate the most power. Well, these bats are completely legal, Mojo, completely legal, and not all of the Yankees are even using them. But that hasn't stopped a lot of people from basically accusing the New York Yankees of cheating. Well, what do the players feel about it? Well, this guy, in my mind, has the best story in all of baseball. J.C. Escarra is a 29-year-old catcher, backup catcher for the New York Yankees, who was an Uber driver and a substitute teacher, turned Major League Baseball player, turned New York Yankee, who is actually on the team. It's such a great story, such an inspiring story. He was doing something a little bit earlier today with Raising Cane's in Manhattan. We had an opportunity to speak with him, and we asked him about the torpedo bats.
Amazing just to be part of it, and to get to witness it, in front of me. Those are stuff that, those are memories I'm gonna have for a lifetime. But yeah, the torpedo bats, man, people are making it a big deal right now, but they've been around for a while, and it's not just us that are using them. I've seen them with other teams too. 5, 6 other teams are using them as well. At the end of the day, you still gotta swing the bat and hit the ball in the barrel. So, we're always finding new ways to get better, and this is just where the game's going.
Have you tried one, and did you use one, or will you use one?
I've tried some in practice, yeah, but seeing everyone have success with it, of course, I gotta give the torpedo a try in the game.
Yeah, I think every baseball player probably wants to give the torpedo bat a try right now.
So let me just get this straight, Babcock. You're telling me by using this torpedo bat, any average Uber driver or fast food worker on the street can be elevated to play baseball for a team as credible as the New York Yankees. I mean, if that's the case, go ahead and send me one of these things too, because I think I picked the wrong sports in football and pro wrestling. Baseball players make the most money, so I should have rethought.
And you get hit a lot less, Mojo, too,
Yeah. Hey, man, is this like the MLB's version of like Deflategate or something? We got controversy over here. I got to say no, because you said it. These are legal. Yeah. If it's legal and we're just talking about outside the box thinking, I mean, how do you not shower this organization with praise? They took something that was the status quo, had the audacity to change it, and now they've arrived at something that is a major success. So, again, if it's legal, I don't know how you could go after the Yankees for any wrongdoing here. Now, after the season, if the league comes together and they decide, hey, this provides an unfair advantage that we hadn't previously thought of, then that's a discussion for another day, almost like how they're doing with the tush push in the NFL right now. But as it stands right now, I mean, I got to give these guys credit for just purely being smart here. Be smarter, don't work harder.
That's it, Mojo. And look, and like JC said, there are several other teams that are using the bat. They just have not had the extraordinary power numbers like the Yankees have had so far. But that doesn't stop every other team out there, 30 teams from going out there and using these bats. And I'm sure that they will start doing that. I think at the end of the day, the pitchers probably don't love these bats, but I think baseball is going to say, hey, we like this. You know that saying, Mojo, chicks dig the long ball. Lots of home runs, good for Major League Baseball. Are we any closer to Aaron Rodgers signing with the Steelers? Mike Tomlin asked about the 4-time NFL MVP at the league's annual meetings. We'll dissect what he said and what he means right after this quick timeout. Welcome back to TMZ Sports. Mike and Mojo. Mojo, it's time for What He Said, What He Means, starring longtime Pittsburgh Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin, who doesn't have a quarterback right now, Mojo. Aaron Rodgers still out there, still having not making up his mind, still being Aaron Rodgers. Of course, we know that Fields and we know Russell Wilson as well. The Steelers' two starting quarterbacks from last year, they about split the season. Both are gone, both different situations, different cities, different teams. So the Steelers need a quarterback, but Aaron Rodgers sort of leaving the Steelers in a bad position right now, because if it's not Aaron Rodgers, they've got to go and find someone to play quarterback for them. So, Mojo, we've got meetings, the annual meetings underway in Palm Beach, Florida, where you've got all of the brass from the NFL teams who are gathered in Southern Florida. Mike Tomlin, of course, you know it, was asked about the four-time NFL MVP. What's going on with Aaron Rodgers?
He's a free agent. As you guys know, he came to visit last Friday. We had a really productive day. He's been in this thing a long time. I've been in this thing a long time. But it's no substitute for, intimacy and spending time together and getting to know one another in a non-competitive environment. And so that was really good. But I don't have any new updates in terms of where the process is. We'll see where it leads us.
How unsettling is it, or is it, to not have this situation?
I'm really comfortable with being unsettled this time of year, to be quite honest with you. It's about talent acquisition. We got two main means of acquiring talent: free agency and the draft. We multitask. We do both. Those needs that we fulfill in free agency, we do so there, and when we don't, we fulfill it in the draft. And so I just learned over the years that this time of year, although day to day can be somewhat uncomfortable, it is a process.
There it is, Mojo. Comfortable being uncomfortable.
You hear these conversations and you always wonder what's really going on behind closed doors. I remember, Babcock, a lifetime ago before pro wrestling, I spent a little bit of time in the league, and I remember having some buddies that were going through free agency, and they knew where they were going to sign. The coaches knew where they were going to sign. They just didn't want to sign at that time. They wanted to sit on it. Maybe they wanted to enjoy some of their time off before being thrust into the media frenzy, having to go back to practices early, attend the facilities and do all the public-facing events that they have to do when you're about to sign on to be the face of an entire franchise, especially when you're a person like Aaron Rodgers. So I'm listening to Mike Tomlin here, and I gotta think that he knows something that we don't know. Remember, too, Mike Tomlin, he's dealt with a few difficult players in the past in his career. One of them's the champion Twitter troll, the reigning and defending online. I'll let you figure that one out for yourself right there. But
CT ESPN anchor Antonio Brown.
Yes. That's it.
Yeah, Mojo, I gotta think you're right.
Is a player's coach, Babcock. His players love playing for him. I mean, maybe that would be a great situation for Aaron Rodgers, because at this point, knowing what happened in New York, I don't know if he can walk into another franchise and exactly tell the head coach and the entire staff how it's going to be. I mean, this is going to have to be a situation that's mutually beneficial, that's a give and take relationship here, which frankly, some quarterbacks and some head coaches aren't really up for. They want to keep all the power in their court. So I could see this situation making a lot of sense. It sounds like Mike Tomlin is willing to give Aaron Rodgers a little bit extra time here, especially as the draft is looming. And it's not here just yet, but it's coming up fairly quick. So, I guess we'll see. But I got to think he knows something that we don't know.
A one-of-one Shohei Ohtani autograph card sets a record at auction. Find out just how many zeros someone paid for this very unique piece of memorabilia. It's a bunch of them. Stay with us. All right, Mojo, before we go, a Shohei Ohtani baseball card just sold for over $1 million. Everything Shohei touches basically turns to gold, Mojo, and this card, no different. So this is a Topps baseball card. It's one of one, only one that exists, autographed, and not just autographed, Mojo. It actually has a piece of Shohei Ohtani's pants, his Dodgers pants from his uniform. This ultimately sold at Heritage Auctions for $1,067,500. As you see there, highest price Ohtani card of all time, Mojo. Probably won't be forever because I'm sure the next one that hits the auction block will probably sell for more money. That's just how big of a star this guy is. I mean, you see it, PSA graded it mint 9. It was a near perfect card, and that's why it ultimately goes for over $1 million, Mojo. So, yeah, not too bad, Mojo. Not too bad. Shohei Ohtani.
Not surprised at this one at all. I'm often surprised by how much these things go for because it's just absolutely crazy to me. But yeah, I mean, Shohei, everything he touches turns to gold. You just said it. Here's my question, Babcock. If I'm spending over $1 million on a piece of this guy's pants that is in this card, do they tell you where that piece of the pants came from? Like, is it on the ankle? Is it on the butt, the kneecap? You know, maybe there's some people that would pay extra if it came from a different part of his pants. I don't know, but I feel like if you're going to spend that much money, that should be mandatory.
We are out of time. We're going to have a great show tomorrow. We might even have the answer to Mojo's question, but it's going to be great regardless.
That's right, Babcock. But either way, it's me and you back, buddy, for another episode of TMZ Sports. And that right there will make it the best show since today.
I'm a lawyer.